what if the most powerful political maneuvers in medieval Europe were not decided by kings on battlefields, but by queens in their chambers? What if the destiny of entire dynasties from the 10th to the 15th century hinged on the choices made by women who wielded influence through the very institution of marriage? Number 12. Eleanor of Aquitaine. Eleanor of Aquitaine was born into immense privilege and power in the early 12th century. She inherited one of the largest and wealthiest duchies in France, Aquitaine and Poitou, making her a highly desirable bride. Her destiny was not just to marry, but to shape the course of kingdoms through her strategic brilliance, especially when it came to the marriages of her children and grandchildren. Her life was a testament to how a woman, even within a patriarchal system, could wield incredible influence over royal lineage and political alliances. Her first marriage, at the tender age of 15, was to Louis VII, the King of France. This union instantly brought vast territories under the French crown and elevated Eleanor to queen consort. She accompanied Louis on the Second Crusade, where her independence and strong will often clashed with her devout husband's temperament. The marriage was not one of affection or a successful political partnership, producing two daughters, Marie and Alex. The lack of a male heir was a significant point of contention, leading to an annulment based on consanguinity, a common legal loophole for dissolving inconvenient royal marriages. This annulment, however, was less about blood ties and more about political expediency and personality clashes. Eleanor, as the Duchess of Aquitaine, retained her vast lands, a testament to her unique power. She was not a mere queen discarded. She was a sovereign in her own right. Within weeks of her annulment from Louis VII, Eleanor married Henry Plantagenet, Duke of Normandy and Count of Anjou, who would soon become Henry II of England. The second marriage was a lightning bolt, uniting her lands with Henry's vast French territories and the Kingdom of England. It created the formidable Angevin Empire, stretching from Scotland to the Pyrenees. This union was a calculated risk for both parties, a power grab that redefined the political map of Western Europe. With Henry, Eleanor had 8 children, 5 of them sons: William, Henry the Young King, Richard the Lionheart, Geoffrey and John. Her daughters were Matilda, Eleanor, and Joan. Each one of these children became a piece on her grand chessboard of dynastic ambiverine and diplomatic maneuvering. Eleanor's influence on her children's marriages was profound and far-reaching. She was not a passive observer. She was an active architect of alliances. Her daughter Matilda, for instance, was married to Henry the Lion, Duke of Saxony and Bavaria. This marriage linked the English royal house with one of the most powerful princely houses in the Holy Roman Empire, creating a formidable anti-Hohenstaufen axis. Matilda's descendants would eventually include the powerful Guelph dynasty, further cementing Eleanor's legacy across European noble lines. Eleanor dispatched her daughter to Germany personally, ensuring the alliance was properly forged and securing a connection that would prove valuable for generations. Another daughter, Eleanor, became Queen of Castile through her marriage to Alfonso VIII. This union was crucial for forging a strong alliance with the powerful Iberian kingdom, a valuable counterweight to French influence, and a strategic partner against the Muslim kingdoms in Spain. The Castilian court, under Eleanor's daughter, became a center of learning and culture, and the alliance brought significant diplomatic advantages to England. Eleanor personally ensured the dowry and negotiations for this match, recognizing the strategic importance of Spanish connections. Her daughter Eleanor and Alfonso VIII had many children, including Berengaria of Castile, who would become Queen of Castile in her own right, demonstrating the enduring impact of Eleanor of Aquitaine's dynastic planning. Her third daughter, Joan, was married to William II of Sicily. This marriage, aimed to solidify relations with the Norman Kingdom of Sicily, a wealthy and strategically located power in the Mediterranean. Joan's life in Sicily was complex, and after William's death, she accompanied her brother Richard the Lionheart on the Third Crusade. Eleanor's strategic foresight in arranging this marriage aimed to secure influence in the southern Mediterranean, a region of growing political and economic importance. Even after Joan's first husband died, Eleanor played a role in her subsequent marriage to Raymond VI of Toulouse, securing a new alliance in a crucial French duchy. Eleanor's sons were also subject to her marital strategies, though their strong wills often presented challenges. Her eldest surviving son, Henry, the young king, was married to Margaret of France, daughter of Louis VII from his second marriage. This was an attempt to mend relations with France, even though the marriage was politically fraught from the beginning, involving contested dowries and territorial disputes. Despite the tensions, Eleanor supported this marriage as a means of securing peace, however tenuous, between the two great powers. Richard the Lionheart, her favorite son, was eventually married to Berengaria of Navarre. This marriage, arranged by Eleanor herself, occurred during Richard's participation in the Third Crusade. Eleanor personally traveled to Navarre to escort Berengaria to Messina, Sicily, where the wedding took place. The alliance with Navarre provided a strategic gateway through the Pyrenees, crucial for English possessions in Aquitaine. The marriage, though childless, was a powerful political statement, securing a valuable ally for Richard's crusading efforts and strengthening the English presence in Gascony. Eleanor ensured that this alliance served her son's immediate needs and long-term security. Even her youngest son, John, whose early life was marked by instability, saw his marriages influenced by his mother. John's first marriage was to Isabella, Countess of Gloucester, which Eleanor likely approved to consolidate power within England. Later, his scandalous marriage to Isabella of Angoulême, while he was still married to Isabella of Gloucester, caused significant uproar. Though Eleanor's direct role in this second controversial marriage is less clear, her overall influence on John's political standing and dynastic security was constant. She always sought to secure his position within the Plantagenet succession. Eleanor's later life saw her acting as a powerful regent for her son, Richard the Lionheart, during his long absences on crusade and in captivity. She played a pivotal role in securing his release from captivity in Germany, raising the enormous ransom and negotiating his freedom. Upon Richard's death, she ensured the succession of her youngest son John over her grandson Arthur, Duke of Brittany, navigating a treacherous political landscape. During this period of regency and succession crises, Eleanor continued to exert her influence over the marriages of minor nobles and royal hopefuls, solidifying alliances and preventing internal strife. Her letters and the chronicles of the time reveal her sharp intellect and her active involvement in the daily governance of her vast territories and the affairs of her children and grandchildren. She constantly advised her sons on political matters, including their marriage choices and the alliances these marriages would forge. Her unwavering commitment to her family's dynastic security and the expansion of their influence across Europe made her an unparalleled figure in medieval history. Eleanor's legacy was not just in the lands she ruled or the kings she married and birthed, but in the intricate web of alliances she wove through the strategic placement of her children and grandchildren in positions of power across the continent. She was a master of political matrimony, using the institution of marriage as her primary tool for shaping the destinies of nations. Her strategic mind saw every marriage as an opportunity, a way to build a network of power that stretched across kingdoms. She understood that while men fought battles, women could win wars through alliances made in the marriage bed. Number 11. Blanche of Castile. Blanche of Castile, born in 1188, was a granddaughter of Eleanor of Aquitaine, inheriting her grandmother's sharp political mind and determination. Her life was defined by the intricate dance of medieval power, where dynastic marriages were the ultimate strategic moves. Blanche, through her intelligence and unwavering will, became one of the most effective regents in French history, expertly controlling the marriages of her children and shaping the future of the Capetian dynasty. Her own marriage was a direct result of her grandmother Eleanor's political maneuvering. At the age of 12, Blanche was brought to France from Castile to marry Louis, the son of King Philip II Augustus. This marriage was a key part of the Treaty of Le Goulet in 1200, which sought to resolve territorial disputes between England and France. Eleanor, despite her advanced age and having spent years imprisoned by her husband Henry II, personally escorted her granddaughter across the Pyrenees to ensure the alliance was sealed. This personal involvement demonstrated Eleanor's trust in Blanche's capacity and the crucial importance of the match. The marriage linked the French royal house with the powerful Castilian monarchy, and though it started as a political pact, it produced numerous children and a future king. When her husband, Louis VIII, died prematurely in 1226, Blanche was faced with a monumental challenge. Her eldest surviving son, Louis IX, was only 12 years old. Blanche immediately assumed the regency of France, a position that immediately drew the ire of powerful and rebellious French barons. These nobles, many of whom disliked Louis VIII's strong rule, saw the young king and a foreign-born queen regent as an opportunity to regain their lost autonomy. Blanche, however, proved herself more than capable. She was a shrewd diplomat and a firm military commander, personally leading troops when necessary to crush revolts and consolidate royal authority. Her most crucial weapon in this fight for stability was the strategic control of royal and noble marriages. Blanche understood that alliances forged through marriage could bind powerful families to the crown more effectively than any military victory. She approached each potential union with meticulous care, weighing the political advantages, the territories involved, and the character of the prospective spouses. Her son, Louis IX, later canonized as St. Louis, was a deeply pious man, but his marriage was a matter of state. Blanche personally chose Margaret of Provence as his bride. Margaret came from a family with significant territorial claims and connections in the south of France, a region that had been a hotbed of dissent during the Albigensian Crusade. This marriage helped to integrate Provence more closely with the French crown and secured an important alliance. Blanche maintained a strong, some might say overbearing influence over Louis and Margaret, particularly in the early years of their marriage, ensuring that royal policy remained firmly in her hands. She even controlled access to Louis's testament, to her determination to keep the reins of power. Blanche's control over her other children's marriages was equally astute. Her daughter, Isabella, a devout young woman, was betrothed to Hugh XI of Lusignan, son of the Count of La Marche, one of the most troublesome barons in France. This marriage was meant to pacify the powerful Lusignan family and bring them back into loyal service to the crown. However, Isabella eventually broke the engagement, choosing instead a life of religious devotion, founding the Franciscan nunnery of Longchamp. While this specific marriage did not come to fruition, it demonstrates Blanche's initial intent to use her children as instruments of royal policy. Another daughter, Alfonso, Count of Poitou, was married to Jeanne of Toulouse, the only heir to the vast and wealthy county of Toulouse. This was a masterstroke. County of Toulouse was one of the largest and most independent lordships in southern France, and its absorption into the royal domain had been a long-standing goal of the French crown. The marriage ensured that upon Jeanne's death without issue, Toulouse would revert directly to the French crown, significantly expanding the royal domain and ending centuries of regional autonomy. Blanche understood the long-term implications of this union better than anyone, securing a massive territorial gain for her son and the Capetian dynasty. Her son Robert, Count of Artois, was married to Matilda of Brabant. This marriage brought an alliance with the Duchy of Brabant, a strategically important territory in the Low Countries. The union aimed to secure French interests in the northeast, an area frequently contested with the Holy Roman Empire and various independent lordships. It was a clear demonstration of Blanche's desire to extend French influence and secure its borders through familial ties. Blanche's control over these marital alliances extended beyond her own children. She also influenced marriages within the broader French nobility, carefully placing loyal individuals in positions of power through strategic unions and preventing alliances that might challenge the crown. She was known for her meticulous attention to detail in marriage contracts, ensuring that the dowries, inheritances, and feudal obligations were all favorable to the royal family. Her approach was systematic. She treated marriage as a diplomatic tool, a means of extending royal authority and consolidating power without resorting to costly warfare. Her regency was a period of remarkable stability and growth for the French monarchy, largely due to her firm hand and her brilliant management of alliances. She successfully navigated internal rebellions, dealt with the challenges of the English crown, and laid the groundwork for Louis IX's long and prosperous reign. Blanche's legacy is not just that she was a queen or a regent, but that she was a highly effective political operator who fully grasped the power of dynastic marriage in shaping the medieval world. She proved that the true strength of a kingdom lay not only in its armies, but also in its well-placed connections, carefully chosen and forged through the institution of marriage. Even after Louis IX came of age, Blanche continued to play a significant role in advising him, including on matters of state and family alliances until her death in 1252. Her influence on the French royal family's marriage policies remained paramount throughout her life. Number 10. Isabella of France. Isabella of France, born around 1295, was a princess of the Capetian dynasty, a daughter of King Philip IV, the Fair of France. Her life became a dramatic saga of political intrigue, rebellion, and a fierce determination to secure the rights of her children. Known to history as the She-Wolf of France, Isabella used her intelligence and a brutal pragmatism to navigate a treacherous political landscape, and her control over the marriage of her son was a pivotal moment in English history. Her own marriage was a grand affair, designed to seal a peace treaty between England and France. In 1308, at the age of 12, she married Edward II, King of England. The union was meant to resolve long-standing territorial disputes over Gascony and strengthen the Anglo-French alliance. Isabella arrived in England with a lavish dowry and great expectations. However, her marriage to Edward II proved to be deeply unhappy and politically unstable. Edward showed little interest in his queen, preferring the company of male favorites like Piers Gaveston and later Hugh Despenser the Younger. This neglect, combined with the king's disastrous political judgments, alienated Isabella and created deep resentment. As Edward II's reign descended into chaos, Isabella's position became increasingly precarious. The Despensers, exercising immense power over the king, began to seize her lands and undermine her authority. Isabella, a proud daughter of the French royal house, would not tolerate such treatment. In 1325, a diplomatic mission provided her with an opportunity to escape England. She traveled to France to negotiate a peace treaty with her brother, King Charles IV, regarding Gascony. It was during this time in Paris that Isabella began to formulate her plan. In France, Isabella transformed from a neglected queen into a formidable political force. She openly defied Edward II, refusing to return to England unless the Despensers were removed from power. It was here that she found allies and crucially began to orchestrate the future of her eldest son, Edward, Prince of Wales, who was sent to France to do homage for Gascony, fulfilling a condition of the peace treaty. This placed the heir to the English throne under her influence, a move that would prove devastating for Edward II. Isabella understood that the path to reclaiming her power and securing her son's inheritance lay in strategic alliances, and the most potent alliances were forged through marriage. Her son, the future Edward III, was still unmarried. Isabella seized this opportunity. She formed a liaison with Roger Mortimer, a powerful English baron who had been exiled from England by Edward II and the Despensers together. They plotted an invasion of England. The crucial component of their plan was the marriage of Prince Edward. Isabella arranged for her son to be betrothed to Philippa of Hainault, the daughter of Count William I of Hainault. This was not a casual choice. It was a deliberate and calculated move to secure military and financial support for their invasion. The Count of Hainault, whose territories were strategically located in the Low Countries, provided a significant dowry that included ships and mercenaries, vital resources for an army determined to overthrow a king. The negotiations for this marriage were directly handled by Isabella and Mortimer. They bypassed Edward II's authority entirely, acting as independent agents of the English royal family. The marriage contract specified that Philippa would bring a substantial dowry, and in return, the Count of Hainault would supply the necessary forces for the invasion. This alliance was the backbone of their success. It was a clear demonstration of Isabella's ability to operate outside conventional royal power structures and use marriage as a weapon. In September 1326, Isabella and Mortimer, along with Prince Edward and Philippa, landed in England with their Hainault forces. The invasion was remarkably successful. Edward II, deserted by his subjects and facing widespread opposition, fled and was eventually captured. The Despensers were summarily executed. Isabella and Mortimer became the de facto rulers of England, with the young Edward proclaimed king in 1327, though still underage. The marriage to Philippa of Hainault was swiftly solemnized in January 1328, shortly after Edward III's accession. This union solidified the alliance with Hainault, giving the new regime a crucial foreign ally and demonstrating the new king's legitimacy through a well-connected royal marriage. Philippa would prove to be a popular and influential queen, bearing many children and contributing to the stability of Edward III's long reign. Her presence and her family's support were directly attributable to Isabella's foresight and daring. For several years, Isabella and Mortimer ruled England as regents for Edward III. During this period, Isabella continued to exert control over affairs of state, including potential marriage alliances for her other children. She was a powerful force, ensuring her family's hold on power. However, her open relationship with Mortimer and their growing unpopularity led to a coup d'état by Edward III in 1330, who, now a young man, asserted his independence. Mortimer was executed, and Isabella was placed under house arrest for the rest of her life, though she lived in relative comfort. Despite her eventual fall from direct power, Isabella of France's legacy as a matriarch who controlled marriages remains undeniable. Her desperate and ultimately successful gamble to overthrow her husband hinged entirely on her ability to secure a powerful military alliance through the marriage of her son. She demonstrated that even a queen who had lost favor and power could, with courage and strategic acumen, use the institution of marriage not just for dynastic continuity, but as a direct instrument of political revolution. She single-handedly orchestrated an international alliance that changed the course of English history, proving that the choices made within marriage could indeed redraw the maps of power. Number 9. Margaret I of Denmark. Margaret I of Denmark, born in 1353, was a woman of extraordinary political talent who rose to become the de facto ruler of Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. She was not a queen by birthright in her own name, but through a series of shrewd political maneuvers, brilliant diplomacy, and an unparalleled mastery of dynastic marriage, she engineered the Kalmar Union, uniting the three Scandinavian kingdoms under one crown. Her ability to control and arrange strategic marriages was fundamental to her ascent and the enduring power of her realm. Margaret's own journey began with a political marriage. At the age of 10, she was married to Håkon VI of Norway, who was also the King of Sweden. This union was intended to cement an alliance between Denmark and Norway against the growing influence of the Hanseatic League and the ambitions of various German princes. The marriage produced one son, Olaf, who was destined to become the heir to both the Norwegian and Danish thrones. From a young age, Margaret immersed herself in the intricacies of Scandinavian politics, observing and learning. Upon the death of her father, Valdemar IV of Denmark, in 1375, Margaret immediately moved to secure the succession for her young son Olaf. She skillfully outmaneuvered other claimants to the Danish throne, ensuring Olaf's election as king. She then acted as his regent, demonstrating her administrative prowess and diplomatic skill. When Olaf also inherited the Norwegian throne upon his father's death in 1380, Margaret became regent for both Denmark and Norway, holding immense power in Scandinavia. Premature death of Olaf in 1387 at the age of 17 and without heirs presented Margaret with a new crisis and an unparalleled opportunity. Instead of losing her power, she solidified it. The Danish nobility, recognizing her capability, elected her as omnipotent regent and mistress of Denmark. Soon after, the Swedish nobility, tired of their unpopular king, Albert of Mecklenburg, also turned to Margaret for assistance. After a successful military campaign, Margaret defeated Albert and was recognized as regent of Sweden in 1389. She now held de facto control over all three Scandinavian kingdoms. Her greatest challenge and her most brilliant achievement was to create a lasting union that would bind these disparate realms together. Her solution was a unified succession, anchored by a carefully chosen royal heir whose claim could be solidified through marriage. Margaret decided to name her grandnephew Eric of Pomerania as her heir. Eric was the son of her niece, Maria of Mecklenburg, and Duke Wartislaw VII of Pomerania. This choice was strategic. Eric had connections to both Danish and German noble lines, making him acceptable to the various factions within the three kingdoms. However, merely naming an heir was not enough. To ensure the long-term stability and political cohesion of the Kalmar Union, Margaret embarked on a series of ambitious marriage negotiations for Eric and his family. The most significant of these was Eric's own marriage to Philippa of England, the daughter of King Henry IV. This marriage, solemnized in 1406, was a diplomatic triumph for Margaret. It secured a powerful alliance with England, a major European power, and provided significant international recognition for the fledgling Kalmar Union. Philippa, known for her piety and intelligence, became a respected queen in the Union and was instrumental in its administration during Eric's frequent absences. Margaret personally oversaw the intricate negotiations for this match, ensuring favorable terms for the Union and reinforcing its prestige on the European stage. Beyond Eric's marriage, Margaret also engaged in extensive marriage diplomacy for other members of her extended family and the key noble families within the Union. She understood that a strong, unified Scandinavia required loyal and interconnected noble families. She carefully arranged marriages between prominent Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish noble houses, intertwining their destinies with the crown and fostering a sense of shared identity and loyalty to the Union. These alliances helped to diffuse potential rivalries and consolidate her authority. For example, she arranged the marriage of Eric's sister, Catherine of Pomerania, to John of Palatinate, Neumark. This marriage was intended to strengthen ties with the Wittelsbach dynasty in the Holy Roman Empire, providing a powerful German ally for the Kalmar Union and securing its southern borders. These broader familial connections further solidified Eric's position and extended Margaret's influence beyond Scandinavia. Margaret's reign was characterized by her unwavering commitment to centralizing royal authority and creating a unified Scandinavian entity. She established a common foreign policy, introduced standardized legal systems, and built strong royal administrations in all three kingdoms. Her control over marriage alliances was a critical instrument in achieving these goals. By carefully selecting spouses for Eric and key nobles, she ensured that the most influential families were bound to the crown and to each other, minimizing internal dissent and promoting a sense of shared purpose. Margaret died in 1412, leaving behind a remarkable legacy. The Kalmar Union, which she meticulously constructed through her political acumen and masterful use of dynastic marriage, endured for over a century, shaping the history of Northern Europe. She was a woman who, despite the gender constraints of her era, defied expectations to become one of Europe's most powerful rulers. Her genius lay in her ability to see marriage not just as a means of procreation or personal union, but as a strategic diplomatic tool, a way to build a vast and stable empire through carefully chosen alliances. Her control over marriages was so pervasive and effective that she essentially wove the very fabric of the Kalmar Union through the marriage beds of her chosen heirs and allies. Number 8. Isabella, the First of Castile. Isabella, the First of Castile, born in 1451, was a pivotal figure in the late medieval and early modern periods, transforming Spain into a unified global power alongside her husband, Ferdinand II of Aragon. While often remembered for funding Christopher Columbus's voyages and the Reconquista, Isabella's strategic genius extended deeply into dynastic politics, making her an unparalleled master of controlling royal marriages to achieve her family's and her kingdom's ambitions. She used her children as pawns and queens on the grand chessboard of European power, securing an unprecedented network of alliances. Isabella's own path to the throne was fraught with challenges. She was not the immediate heir, and her early life was marked by political instability and competition for the Castilian crown. Her marriage to Ferdinand of Aragon in 1469 was itself an act of bold defiance against her half-brother, King Henry IV of Castile, who had arranged a different match for her. This secret marriage, conducted without papal dispensation, laid the foundation for the eventual unification of Spain and demonstrated Isabella's early willingness to make strategic choices that defied convention for dynastic gain. This union was a partnership of equals, but Isabella retained fierce control over Castilian affairs, including the future of her children. Together, Isabella and Ferdinand had 5 surviving children: Isabella, John, Joanna, Maria, and Catherine. Each of these children became a crucial piece in their ambitious foreign policy, which aimed to isolate France and forge alliances with the Holy Roman Empire, England, and the emerging powers of Portugal and the Netherlands. Isabella personally oversaw the intricate negotiations for each of her children's marriages, often insisting on specific clauses and dowry arrangements that would benefit Castile. Her eldest daughter, Isabella, was first married to Afonso, Prince of Portugal. This marriage, solemnized in 1490, was designed to secure a long-standing alliance with Portugal, a powerful neighbor and rival in Atlantic exploration. The union aimed to prevent future conflicts and consolidate Iberian power tragically. Afonso died shortly after the marriage. Undeterred, Queen Isabella promptly arranged for her daughter to marry Afonso's successor, Manuel I of Portugal. This second marriage to the Portuguese king further solidified the alliance, ensuring dynastic continuity and shared strategic interests. Demonstrated Isabella's relentless pursuit of her political objectives through repeat marriage arrangements. Her only son and heir, John, Prince of Asturias, was the most valuable piece on her board. His marriage was critical for the succession of the united Spanish crowns. Isabella arranged for John to marry Margaret of Austria, daughter of Emperor Maximilian I and Mary of Burgundy. This was a crucial alliance with the Holy Roman Empire and the powerful Habsburg dynasty, establishing a bulwark against France. The marriage was celebrated with great pomp and circumstance in 1497, but tragically John died within months, leaving no heir. This sudden loss was a devastating blow. Yet Isabella's quick thinking and relentless pursuit of her dynastic goals ensured that the alliance was not lost. Following John's death, the focus shifted to her third daughter, Joanna. Joanna had already been married to Philip the Handsome, the son of Maximilian I and Mary of Burgundy, and thus the brother of Margaret of Austria. This dual marriage strategy, marrying a son and a daughter into the same powerful dynasty, was a common but brilliant Habsburg Spanish tactic to cement alliances. Joanna and Philip's marriage, which occurred in 1496, brought the Spanish royal family into direct dynastic connection with the formidable Habsburgs and the wealthy Burgundian Netherlands. This union would ultimately lead to the incredible expansion of the Habsburg Empire, as Joanna and Philip's son, Charles, would inherit the Spanish crowns, the Burgundian Netherlands, and eventually become Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. Isabella meticulously guided these complex negotiations, understanding the immense long-term implications for her family's future. Her fourth daughter, Maria, became the replacement bride for Manuel I of Portugal after her older sister Isabella died without surviving children from her union with Manuel. This demonstrated Isabella's persistent commitment to the Portuguese alliance and her pragmatic approach to royal succession. The marriage of Maria to Manuel in 1500 ensured that the Castilian connection to Portugal remained strong, emphasizing the importance of Iberian unity in Isabella's foreign policy. Finally, her youngest daughter, Catherine of Aragon, was destined for the English throne. Catherine was initially married to Arthur, Prince of Wales, eldest son of King Henry VII of England, in 1501. This alliance was a cornerstone of Isabella's anti-French policy, aiming to bind England to Spain in a powerful European axis. The marriage was a grand spectacle, symbolizing the strength of the new Anglo-Spanish alliance. When Arthur died, just months after the wedding, Isabella, with characteristic determination, immediately began negotiations for Catherine to marry Arthur's younger brother, the future Henry VIII. Despite the challenges of securing a papal dispensation for a marriage to a deceased brother's wife, Isabella pressed forward, understanding the immense strategic value of the English alliance. This persistence, and her success in securing the engagement, set the stage for Catherine's tumultuous future as Queen of England, a future that would reshape European religion and politics for centuries. Isabella of Castile's control over her children's marriages was not merely about individual unions. It was a grand strategic vision. She wove an intricate web of alliances across Europe, isolating her rivals and expanding Spanish influence. She personally dictated the terms, dowries, and even the personalities of the chosen spouses, ensuring that each match served a specific political purpose. Her tireless efforts created a dynastic empire that stretched from the Iberian Peninsula across Europe and eventually to the Americas. Her legacy is one of unparalleled political foresight and the masterful use of royal marriages as the ultimate tool of statecraft. She understood that while armies won battles, it was carefully planned marriages that won entire continents for her descendants. Number 7. Theophanu. Theophanu, born a Byzantine princess around 960, was a woman whose journey from the sophisticated court of Constantinople to the heart of the Holy Roman Empire was marked by her extraordinary intelligence, cultural influence, and an unwavering determination to secure the future of her son. As empress consort and then as empress regent, Theophanu wielded immense power, not least through her strategic guidance of the marriages of her son and other prominent nobles, ensuring the stability and expansion of the Ottonian dynasty. Her own marriage was a grand political statement. In 972, she journeyed from the Byzantine Empire to Rome to marry Otto II, co-emperor of the Holy Roman Empire and son of Otto I the Great. This union was a highly anticipated event, designed to cement an alliance between the two great empires of the Christian world, the Byzantine East and the Latin West. The Byzantine Empire was the more advanced and culturally sophisticated, and Theophanu brought with her not just imperial prestige, but also Byzantine customs, administrative practices, and cultural recency. Her imperial lineage was impeccable, connecting her directly to the Macedonian dynasty of Byzantium. This marriage was a cornerstone of Ottonian foreign policy, aiming to establish an equal footing with the East. Theophanu quickly adapted to her new role in the West, learning Latin and becoming a powerful presence alongside her husband. She was intelligent, educated, and possessed a strong political acumen. She bore Otto II several daughters and, crucially, one son, Otto III, who was born in 980. The birth of a male heir was paramount for the Ottonian succession, and Theophanu dedicated herself to securing his future. When Otto II died unexpectedly in 983 during a campaign in Italy, Otto III was just 3 years old. Theophanu immediately seized the regency, skillfully outmaneuvering other powerful claimants, including Henry the Quarrelsome, Duke of Bavaria, who attempted to abduct the young king. Theophanu, with the support of powerful archbishops and loyal nobles, asserted her authority and established herself as the undisputed regent for her son. This was an unprecedented position for an empress in the Ottonian realm. But Theophanu, armed with her Byzantine imperial understanding of female regency, executed her duties with competence and firmness. As regent, Theophanu was not merely a caretaker, she was an active and assertive ruler. She personally led diplomatic missions, issued charters, and held court. Her policies were aimed at strengthening the imperial administration and securing the succession. A key aspect of her regency was her careful management of dynastic alliances, particularly through marriages. While Otto III was still a child, Theophanu began to consider his future marriage, though he was too young for a direct union. She would have been aware of the immense political power of such a match, planning to secure an alliance that would solidify his rule and extend imperial influence. While Otto III did not marry during her lifetime, Theophanu spent years planning and cultivating relationships that would make such a marriage possible. She was focused on bringing the various noble houses of the empire under imperial control and ensuring their loyalty, often through matrimonial ties that she either facilitated or endorsed. Theophanu's most direct impact on marriage politics during her regency was in arranging marriages for her own daughters and other members of the Ottonian house. These alliances were crucial for binding powerful German noble families to the imperial crown. For example, her daughter Adelheid was married to the Margrave of Meissen, a strategically important frontier territory. This marriage helped to secure the eastern borders of the empire and ensure the loyalty of a key ducal family. Another daughter, Sophia, became an influential abbess, an important position that also served imperial interests. Theophanu also navigated the complex relationships with the powerful ecclesiastical hierarchy, whose support was vital for imperial stability. She made sure that key appointments within the church were loyal to her son and the imperial line, recognizing that even ecclesiastical appointments could be leveraged for future marriage alliances for the broader Ottonian family. Her regency was marked by relative stability and continued growth for the Holy Roman Empire, a testament to her political acumen. She maintained peace with France, navigated the intricate politics of Italy, and successfully suppressed internal revolts. Theophanu's authority was rooted in her intelligent understanding of power, her Byzantine heritage, and her deep commitment to the future of the Ottonian dynasty. She understood that a strong succession was built not just on armies but on a robust network of alliances, which marriage was crucial for forging. Theophanu died in 991, leaving Otto III, still a teenager, to rule on his own. She had successfully guided him through his childhood and ensured the continuity of the Ottonian line. Her influence on Otto III, who shared her vision of a powerful universal empire with strong ties to both Rome and Byzantium, was profound. Though she did not live to see Otto III's marriage, her strategic planning and the foundation she laid for his reign meant that any marriage he would have made would have been a direct continuation of her foreign policy objectives. Theophanu demonstrated that a female regent, particularly one from a sophisticated imperial background, could not only maintain stability but actively shape the dynastic future of a vast empire through the astute management of marriage alliances and the careful cultivation of relationships. She defied the expectations of her time and left an indelible mark on the history of the Holy Roman Empire, proving that imperial succession often lay in the hands of women who controlled the marriage destinies of their heirs. Number 6. Agnes of Poitou. Agnes of Poitou, born around 1025, was a formidable figure in the Holy Roman Empire of the 11th century. As empress consort to Henry III, and later as empress regent for her young son Henry IV, Agnes faced monumental challenges, including rebellious princes, papal reforms, and a fragmented empire. In this volatile environment, she demonstrated an acute understanding of power dynamics, and her efforts to maintain imperial authority often involved the careful consideration and control of marriage alliances for her children and other important figures. Agnes came from a powerful French ducal family, the House of Aquitaine, making her a highly desirable bride for the Ottonian and Salian emperors. Her marriage to Henry III in 1043 was a strategic alliance that connected the influential French duchy to the Holy Roman Empire, consolidating Henry's position and providing a valuable counterweight to other German noble families. This union was notable for its solemnity and the mutual respect it demonstrated, producing 6 children including the future Emperor Henry IV. Agnes was highly educated and deeply pious, qualities that made her a respected figure at court. When Henry III died prematurely in 1056, their son, Henry IV, was only 6 years old. Agnes immediately assumed the regency, a position of immense power, but also extreme vulnerability in the turbulent Holy Roman Empire. The German nobility, often fiercely independent, saw the regency of a foreign-born empress and a child king as an opportunity to assert their own power and challenge imperial authority. Agnes found herself at the helm of an empire simmering with discontent. Agnes's regency was characterized by her attempts to navigate these political storms and maintain imperial control. She sought to ensure the loyalty of powerful dukes and bishops, often through grants of imperial lands and dignities. Her most crucial and long-term strategy for dynastic stability, however, was the careful arrangement of her children's marriages, which would tie prominent European families to the Salian dynasty. Her eldest daughter, Matilda, was a key pawn in this strategy. Agnes arranged for Matilda to be married to Rudolf of Rheinfelden, Duke of Swabia, and the powerful German prince. This marriage was intended to secure the loyalty of a prominent ducal house and strengthen the imperial position in Swabia. However, the alliance proved to be tragically ironic. Rudolf later became an anti-king, a rival claimant to the imperial throne during the investiture controversy against Agnes's son Henry IV. This unfortunate outcome highlights the inherent risks and unpredictable nature of medieval marriage politics, even for the most astute rulers. Despite this, Agnes's initial intent was clearly to consolidate power through this union. Agnes also had other daughters. Judith, another of her daughters, was married to Solomon, King of Hungary. This marriage aimed to forge an alliance with the Kingdom of Hungary, a strategically important neighbor to the east. This union was crucial for securing the empire's borders and gaining a valuable partner in Central Europe. The marriage provided a significant diplomatic link and helped stabilize relations between the two realms, demonstrating Agnes's ability to think beyond internal imperial politics. While her son Henry IV's marriage took place after Agnes had formally stepped down from the regency, her influence and the imperial priorities she established would have heavily informed the choice of his bride. Henry IV was married to Bertha of Savoy, a member of the powerful House of Savoy, which controlled key passes through the Alps. This alliance was vital for securing imperial access to Italy, a region of immense political and religious importance for the Holy Roman Emperors. The choice of Bertha reflected the long-standing imperial policy of aligning with strategically located families. Agnes's approach to regency was often criticized by contemporary chroniclers, who sometimes viewed her as too trusting or too lenient with rebellious nobles. However, her challenges were immense, and she operated in a period of intense reform within the church and growing assertiveness among the German princes. Her commitment to maintaining imperial authority and ensuring her son's stable succession remained paramount. She frequently used her personal influence and diplomatic skills to mediate disputes and secure agreements. The period of Agnes's regency, from 1056 to 1062, was a time of significant transition for the Holy Roman Empire. She laid the groundwork for Henry IV's challenging reign, which would be dominated by the investiture controversy, a major conflict between the emperor and the papacy over the appointment of bishops. Even after stepping down from direct regency and entering a convent, Agnes remained an influential figure, offering counsel and mediating disputes within the imperial family. Agnes of Poitou exemplified the challenges and opportunities faced by powerful medieval matriarchs. She was thrust into a position of ultimate authority at a young age, responsible for the vast and fractious Holy Roman Empire and the future of her dynasty. Her efforts to control marriages, particularly for her children, were critical components of her strategy to stabilize the realm, secure alliances, and ensure the long-term viability of her son's imperial rule. Though some of her marriage arrangements had unexpected outcomes, her commitment to using these unions as instruments of statecraft demonstrates her deep understanding of medieval power politics and her formidable presence as a ruler. She was a woman who understood that the destiny of an empire could hinge on the precise placement of a bride or groom. Number 5. Adela of Normandy. Adela of Normandy, born around 1062, was the formidable daughter of William the Conqueror, the first Norman king of England, and Matilda of Flanders. Despite never holding a throne herself, Adela was arguably one of the most politically astute and influential women of her generation. As the Countess of Blois, Chartres and Meaux, and more significantly as the mother of numerous powerful children, she meticulously orchestrated a series of strategic marriages that elevated her family's standing and solidified their connections across Europe. Her ability to control and guide these unions was a testament to her sharp intellect and unwavering ambition. Adela's own marriage was a strategic masterpiece, arranged by her powerful parents. She married Stephen Henry, Count of Blois, a prominent French noble whose vast territories were strategically located between the emerging powers of the Anglo-Norman realm and the French royal domain. This union provided Adela with a powerful platform from which to operate. She was known for her intelligence and her strong will, often acting as regent for her husband during his frequent absences on crusade. Her letters reveal her active involvement in the administration of their lands and her keen interest in political affairs. What truly sets Adela apart as a matriarch controlling marriages was her large family of children, most of whom survived to adulthood and required careful placement. She had at least 10 children, and her determination to secure advantageous marriages for each of them profoundly shaped the political landscape of 12th century Europe. She treated each child as a valuable asset in her dynastic strategy, ensuring that their unions would bring power, wealth, or strategic alliances. Her eldest son, William, inherited the county of Sully and was married into a respectable, though not royal, family. Adela demonstrated her pragmatic approach to each child's future, ensuring stability for even the less politically prominent children. However, it was her second son, Stephen, who would rise to the English throne, largely due to Adela's careful groundwork. Stephen married Matilda of Boulogne, a powerful heiress who brought the county of Boulogne and control of significant channel ports into the family. This marriage was a strategic coup, securing vital economic and military assets. Adela's influence on Stephen's character and his ambitions was significant. Stephen would later seize the English crown after the death of his uncle, Henry I, initiating a period of civil war known as the Anarchy. While Adela passed away before Stephen's accession, her careful nurturing of his ambition and the powerful marriage she helped secure for him undoubtedly contributed to his audacious claim to the throne. Adela also had several daughters for whom she arranged significant matches. Her daughter Matilda was married to Richard, Viscount of Semur, linking the Blois family to a strong regional power. Another daughter, Agnes, married into the powerful family of Hugh de Puiset. These marriages, though not royal, were crucial for strengthening the family's regional influence and ensuring loyalty. But it was Adela's most impressive display of marriage control that came with her daughter, Adela or Alice. This daughter was married to Moscow III, the old, powerful Polish duke, and later Duke of Greater Poland and Prince of Poland. This union connected the Blois family to the Piast dynasty of Poland, a major power in Central Europe. This was an incredibly ambitious match for a countess, demonstrating Adela's ability to think on a truly international scale and secure a royal alliance for her daughter. It was a remarkable feat of dynastic diplomacy, extending the Blois family's reach far beyond their French territories. Her sons, Henry and Theobald, also played significant roles in the church and secular politics, with their careers undoubtedly guided by Adela's influence. Henry became the powerful Bishop of Winchester in England, a key ecclesiastical and political figure during Stephen's reign. Theobald IV, Count of Blois and Champagne, inherited the family lands and continued to be a powerful and influential figure in French politics. While not direct marriages, Adela's guiding hand in their careers, securing them positions of power, reflected her overarching strategy for the family's advancement. Adela retired to the Cluniac Priory of Marcigny in 1120, demonstrating her piety in her later years. However, even from retirement, her influence likely continued to ripple through her powerful network of children and grandchildren. Her life was a testament to the power of a noblewoman who, through her sharp intellect and relentless focus on dynastic strategy, could elevate her family's standing and shape the course of history through the strategic use of marriage. She understood that a noble family's strength lay not just in its lands and armies, but in the intricate web of alliances forged through careful unions. Adela of Normandy demonstrated that the quiet strength of a matriarch in controlling marital destinies could have more lasting impact than the loudest clash of swords. Number 4. Matilda of Scotland. Matilda of Scotland, born Edith around 1080, was a fascinating figure in the complex Anglo-Norman world of the early 12th century. As the daughter of King Malcolm III of Scotland and St. Margaret of Scotland, she was a direct descendant of the Anglo-Saxon kings of England, a lineage that made her a uniquely valuable bride. Her life was defined by a monumental political marriage, and as Queen of England, she masterfully used her position to arrange a critical dynastic union for her daughter, profoundly impacting the future of both England and the Holy Roman Empire. Matilda's early life was spent in a convent in Romsey, where she received an excellent education. However, her royal lineage made her a pawn in the intricate game of English politics. After the Norman conquest of 1066, the new Norman rulers sought to consolidate their power by integrating the Anglo-Saxon elite. King Henry I, the youngest son of William the Conqueror, recognized the immense political advantage of marrying a princess with direct ties to the pre-conquest English monarchy. Such a union would legitimize his rule in the eyes of the Anglo-Saxon population and bridge the divide between conquerors and conquered. In 1100, Matilda married Henry I. The marriage, initially controversial due to Matilda's association with a convent, was ultimately approved by the Church. It proved to be a political triumph for Henry, securing popular support and bringing stability to his reign. Matilda, who changed her name from Edith to the more Norman-sounding Matilda upon her marriage, proved to be an intelligent and active queen. She served as regent for Henry during his frequent absences in Normandy, presiding over councils, issuing charters, and administering justice. Her administrative skills and her deep understanding of governance made her a powerful partner to the king. Together, Henry I and Matilda had 2 children, a son, William Adelin, and a daughter, Matilda. The destiny of these children became the focus of Matilda of Scotland's most significant acts of marriage control. Her son, William Adelin, was the eagerly awaited male heir to the English throne. His marriage was critical for securing the Anglo-Norman future. Matilda of Scotland, alongside Henry I, arranged for William to marry Matilda of Anjou, the daughter of Count Fulk, the 5th of Anjou. This marriage was a deliberate political move aimed at strengthening the Anglo-Norman alliance with Anjou, a powerful French county that bordered Normandy. The union was intended to secure peace and mutual support against their common rival, the French king. The marriage, unfortunately, was short-lived. William Adelin tragically drowned in the White Ship disaster in 1120, an event that plunged England into a succession crisis. The death of William Adelin shifted all dynastic hopes onto Matilda of Scotland's daughter, also named Matilda. Her daughter, a remarkably intelligent and strong-willed young woman, was destined for an even grander union. Matilda of Scotland, in concert with Henry I, orchestrated her daughter's marriage to Henry V, the Holy Roman Emperor. This marriage, solemnized in 1114, was a monumental event in European politics. Created a powerful alliance between the English crown and the Holy Roman Empire, a formidable combination against the French king and other rivals. This was a truly strategic marriage, designed to elevate the English royal family to an unprecedented level of international prestige and influence. Matilda of Scotland personally supervised the preparations for her daughter's departure to Germany, ensuring that she was accompanied by a lavish retinue and presented appropriately as a bride for the emperor. The marriage, though childless, was a powerful diplomatic statement, solidifying Anglo-imperial ties and giving Henry I significant leverage in European affairs. The fact that the daughter of an English king could become an empress was a testament to the rising power of the Anglo-Norman realm and the strategic vision of its queen. Even after her daughter was widowed by the emperor's death in 1125, Matilda of Scotland's influence, or at least the foundation she laid, continued. Henry I, now without a male heir, declared his daughter Empress Matilda, the former empress of the Holy Roman Empire, as his successor, making her swear oaths to support her claim. Though Matilda of Scotland was deceased by this point, the very fact that her daughter was the only surviving legitimate child and had been elevated to empress through her parents' careful marriage planning made her the undeniable choice for the succession. Matilda of Scotland's life was cut short in 1118, but her impact on the succession and alliances of the Anglo-Norman realm was profound. As a powerful queen, she was not just a symbol but an active participant in her husband's reign. Her most lasting legacy, however, was her role in arranging the 2 crucial marriages for her children, the alliance with Anjou through her son and, more significantly, the unprecedented union with the Holy Roman Empire through her daughter. These were not just unions of individuals, but alliances of kingdoms designed to secure peace, expand influence, and ensure dynastic continuity. She proved that a queen, even one from a contested lineage, could become a master of political matrimony, shaping the destiny of empires through the careful placement of her children. Number 3. Melisende of Jerusalem. Melisende of Jerusalem, born around 1105, was a queen regnant in a fiercely contested Crusader state, a realm constantly on the brink of collapse and utterly dependent on shrewd alliances. As the daughter of King Baldwin II of Jerusalem, she was destined to rule, and her tenure was marked by a remarkable ability to maintain stability and expand influence through astute political maneuvering, especially her strategic control over the marriages. Melisende's path to the throne was unique. Her father, Baldwin II, had no sons. Recognizing her intelligence and capability, he took the unprecedented step of formally designating her as his successor, a move that challenged the patriarchal norms of the time. To secure her position, Baldwin II arranged her marriage to Fulk V, Count of Anjou, a powerful and experienced Crusader lord. This marriage was not merely a personal union, it was a carefully calculated political alliance, bringing a seasoned military leader and valuable Western resources to the vulnerable kingdom of Jerusalem. Fulk was to rule as co-monarch, but Melisende's claim to the throne was paramount. Upon Baldwin II's death in 1131, Melisende and Fulk became co-rulers. However, Fulk soon attempted to sideline Melisende, asserting sole authority. Melisende, a woman of strong will and with the support of the nobility and the church, fought back. She successfully reasserted her co-rulership, demonstrating her fierce determination to maintain her rightful power. This struggle set the stage for her independent rule and her understanding of the importance of control over royal succession and alliances. Together, Melisende and Fulk had 2 sons, Baldwin III and Amalric. As their sons grew, Melisende's focus increasingly turned to their future and the future of the kingdom through strategic marriages. She understood that in the precarious Crusader states, where manpower was scarce and external threats constant, strong alliances forged through dynastic marriages were critical for survival. Her eldest son, Baldwin III, became king alongside her, though she effectively retained significant power even after he came of age. For Baldwin's marriage, Melisende sought a bride from a powerful and distant dynasty, one that could provide new allies and resources without directly threatening the existing power balance within the Latin East. She eventually chose Theodora Comnena, a niece of the powerful Byzantine Emperor Manuel I Comnenus. This marriage, solemnized in 1157, was a significant diplomatic coup. It secured a crucial alliance with the Byzantine Empire, the most powerful Christian state in the East, providing much-needed military and financial support for Jerusalem. Melisende personally sent envoys and oversaw the intricate negotiations for this prestigious match, recognizing the immense strategic value of Byzantine backing against the growing Muslim powers. Melisende's influence extended beyond her immediate children. She also played a significant role in arranging marriages for other key members of the nobility of Jerusalem, ensuring their loyalty to the crown and cementing strategic alliances. She understood that a strong kingdom required a unified and well-interconnected ruling class. She actively encouraged and facilitated marriages between powerful Crusader families, often securing their support through dowries and promises of land or influence. Her second son, Amalric, would also become king of Jerusalem after Baldwin III's death. While his marriage to Agnes of Courtenay occurred after Melisende had retired to a convent, her influence on the dynastic priorities would have shaped the early consideration of his marriage prospects. Later, Amalric would make an even more significant Byzantine alliance through his second marriage to Maria Comnena, a grandniece of Emperor Manuel. While Melisende was not alive for this union, the precedent for a Byzantine alliance for her sons was firmly established by her earlier efforts for Baldwin III. Melissende's reign was a period of relative prosperity and consolidation for the Kingdom of Jerusalem. She maintained a strong royal authority, patronized art and architecture, and secured her kingdom's borders through a combination of military strength and astute diplomacy. Her ability to navigate the complex internal politics of the Crusader states, balancing the ambitions of various noble factions, was remarkable. In 1152, a conflict arose between Melisende and Baldwin III over the extent of her continued power. Though Baldwin eventually asserted his sole authority, Melisende retained the important fiefdom of Nablus and continued to wield significant influence in the kingdom, often being consulted on important matters of state and succession until her death in 1161. Melisende of Jerusalem stands out as a powerful queen who not only inherited a throne, but fiercely defended and strengthened it. Her control over the most important marriage of her son, the king, was a direct act of statecraft, forging a crucial alliance that secured the kingdom's position on the international stage. She understood that for a vulnerable realm like Jerusalem, dynastic marriages were not just about heirs. They were about survival, about building a network of support that could withstand relentless external pressures. Her legacy is one of a matriarch who, through her strategic vision for marriage, ensured the continued existence and influence of her Crusader kingdom against overwhelming odds. Number 2. Matilda of Tuscany. Matilda of Tuscany, born in 1046, was an extraordinarily powerful and influential figure in 11th and 12th century Italy, known as the Great Countess. Her vast domains stretched across northern and central Italy, making her one of the wealthiest and most formidable rulers in Europe, rivaling even emperors and popes in her influence. While her own 2 marriages were politically driven and largely unhappy, her true power as a matriarch lay in her unwavering support for the papacy during the investiture controversy, and her ability to influence alliances and successions through her strategic choices indirectly but profoundly controlling the political implications of marriages for generations. Matilda inherited her extensive lands, known as the March of Tuscany, after a series of premature deaths in her family. Her mother, Beatrice of Lorraine, initially ruled as regent, but Matilda quickly asserted her own authority. Her territories, strategically located across the Apennine Mountains, controlled vital trade routes and communications between northern and southern Italy, and between the Holy Roman Empire and Rome. This made her a crucial player in the titanic struggle for supremacy between the Holy Roman Emperors and the papacy, a conflict known as the investiture controversy. Matilda was an ardent supporter of the Gregorian reform movement and a staunch ally of the popes, particularly Pope Gregory VII. Her castles and lands often served as safe havens for the popes and as bases for their military operations. This unwavering loyalty to the papacy brought her into direct conflict with the Holy Roman Emperors, especially Henry IV, her cousin, whose own marriage to Bertha of Savoy had been arranged by his mother, Agnes of Poitou, to secure imperial access to Italy. Matilda's own first marriage, arranged by her mother, was to Godfrey the Hunchback, Duke of Lower Lorraine, a son of her stepfather. This marriage was intended to strengthen family ties and consolidate power in Lorraine and Tuscany. However, it was unhappy and childless, and the couple soon separated. This experience may have hardened Matilda's resolve to use marriage purely as a tool for political advantage without personal attachment. Her second marriage, to Welf, V of Bavaria in 1089, was a purely political alliance arranged to strengthen the papal Italian forces against Emperor Henry IV. Welf was the son of Welf IV, Duke of Bavaria, a major opponent of the emperor. This marriage was a direct challenge to imperial authority and cemented the alliance between Matilda, the Welf family, and the papacy. Despite the union, this marriage too was childless and ended in separation after a few years. These personal experiences underscored for Matilda the immense political stakes involved in dynastic unions, even if they failed on a personal level. While Matilda did not have children of her own to arrange marriages for, her influence on marriage politics came through her immense political power and her patronage. She sponsored and supported marriages that aligned with her pro-papal and anti-imperial stance. She encouraged alliances among the Italian nobility, who supported the Pope, ensuring that their family lines were strengthened through advantageous unions. Court was a center of political intrigue, and she often mediated disputes between powerful families, with marriage settlements frequently being a part of these resolutions. Perhaps the most significant example of her indirect control over marriage politics was her influence over the succession of the Holy Roman Empire itself. By consistently opposing Henry IV and later his son Henry V, Matilda threw her weight behind the various anti-kings and opposition movements. These conflicts often involved marriage alliances among the rebellious German princes who sought to undermine the Salian dynasty. Though she did not directly arrange their marriages, her political support and financial backing were crucial for legitimizing these rebellious factions, who in turn often used marriage to secure their own power bases. For example, she supported the marriage of Henry V's sister Agnes to Frederick I, Duke of Swabia, a powerful German prince, though this was an imperial-aligned marriage that sought to consolidate Henry IV's position. Matilda's constant pressure made it harder for the emperors to secure easy alliances. More importantly, Matilda made a monumental bequest of her vast lands to the papacy in her will. This controversial donation, while not a marriage, profoundly influenced future dynastic disputes over these territories, which continued for centuries and often involved marriage claims and counterclaims. Her act essentially put her vast wealth and strategic lands into play for the papacy, influencing who could inherit or claim them through marriage alliances, becoming a source of contention between popes and emperors. Her legacy ensured that the political landscape of Italy and the Holy Roman Empire would continue to be shaped by claims and counterclaims involving territories which she had once commanded. Matilda's fierce independence and her strategic alliances with the papacy made her an exceptional female ruler. She held court, commanded armies, and engaged in complex diplomacy. She was a master of political strategy, understanding that alliances, both through military pacts and dynastic marriages, were essential tools in the high-stakes game of imperial and papal supremacy. Though she did not have children of her own, her strategic actions and her consistent opposition to the imperial line indirectly influenced which marriages were politically favorable or unfavorable for the competing factions. She played a direct role in elevating the papacy's temporal power, thereby influencing which dynastic families would seek papal favor and through which marriages they would secure their positions. Matilda of Tuscany, through her unwavering will and strategic allegiances, fundamentally altered the balance of power in medieval Europe, demonstrating that even without direct heirs, a powerful matriarch could control the currents of dynastic politics and indirectly shape the marriage alliances that defined an era. Number 1. Maria of Aragon. Maria of Aragon, born in 1403, was a prominent queen consort of Castile, and later a significant regent, demonstrating how a powerful queen could actively control the delicate threads of royal succession and dynastic alliances. Her life was steeped in the intricate politics of the Trastamara dynasty, a family that ruled both Aragon and Castile, and her influence was particularly critical during a period of intense internal strife and external pressures. Maria's own marriage was a pivotal moment in the history of the Iberian Peninsula. In 1420, she married John II of Castile, her first cousin. This union was a cornerstone of the Trastamara dynasty's strategy to unite the crowns of Aragon and Castile, or at least ensure a strong and stable alliance between them. Maria was the daughter of Ferdinand I of Aragon, a monarch who had successfully claimed the Aragonese throne through the Compromise of Caspe. Her marriage to John II strengthened the family's hold on both kingdoms, aiming to reduce the internal conflicts that often plagued the Trastamara branch. As Queen of Castile, Maria immediately became a key player in the turbulent Castilian court. Her husband, John II, was a weak and indecisive king, often dominated by powerful favorites, most notably Álvaro de Luna. Maria, however, was a woman of strong character and political acumen. She frequently acted as regent for her husband during his illnesses or absences, and she was a constant advocate for the interests of her Aragonese family, leading a powerful faction within the Castilian nobility known as the Aragonese Infantes. Her persistent efforts aimed at curbing the power of royal favorites and asserting the authority of the royal family. Maria and John II had 4 children: Catherine, Eleanor, Henry, and Isabella. The destiny of these children became the focus of Maria's most direct and able control over marriages. She recognized that the strategic placement of her children on the European dynastic chessboard was essential for securing Castile's future and asserting her family's influence. Her most significant triumph in marriage control was for her only surviving son, Henry, the future Henry IV of Castile. Henry's marriage was paramount for the Castilian succession. Maria arranged his marriage to Blanche II of Navarre, the daughter of John II of Aragon and Blanche I of Navarre. This marriage, solemnized in 1440, was a classic Trastamara strategy to reinforce the ties between Castile and Aragon, and crucially, to exert Castilian influence over the Kingdom of Navarre, a strategically important realm situated between the 2 larger Iberian powers and France. The union aimed to create a unified front against external threats and solidify dynastic claims. Maria personally oversaw the difficult negotiations for this match, ensuring it served Castilian interests. However, this marriage proved to be tragically unsuccessful. After 13 years, it was annulled on grounds of non-consummation, an outcome that brought significant political and dynastic complications. Despite this setback, Maria's initial intent and her deep involvement in arranging this highly strategic union demonstrate her power as a matriarch in controlling marital destinies. The failure of the marriage was not due to her lack of foresight or effort, but to unforeseen personal circumstances. Maria also had daughters for whom she arranged significant alliances. Her daughter Catherine was married to Infante Henry of Aragon, a cousin and member of the powerful Aragonese branch of the Trastamara family. This marriage further intertwined the Castilian and Aragonese lines, solidifying the familial bonds and creating a strong power bloc within the peninsula. These kinds of cousin marriages were common strategies in the medieval period to consolidate power and prevent the fragmentation of family wealth and influence. Her second daughter, Eleanor, was married to Prince Edward of Portugal, who would become King Edward I of Portugal. This marriage, solemnized in 1428, was a crucial diplomatic coup for Castile. It forged a powerful alliance with the Kingdom of Portugal, a neighboring maritime power with significant trade interests and strategic importance in the Atlantic. This union aimed to secure peace on Castile's western border and create a strong Iberian bloc against other European powers, particularly France. Maria's personal involvement in these negotiations ensured that the alliance was beneficial to Castile. Maria's influence extended beyond her own children. As queen and regent, she played a role in the broader marriage politics of the Castilian nobility, seeking to secure loyalties and prevent the rise of overly powerful independent factions. She understood that a strong monarchy depended on a network of loyal, interconnected noble families, and marriage was the primary tool for forging such connections. Maria of Aragon died in 1458, just before her son, Henry IV's tumultuous reign began. Her efforts to stabilize the Castilian monarchy through marriage alliances laid the groundwork for future developments, even if they sometimes resulted in unforeseen complexities. Her initial arrangement of Henry IV's marriage to Blanche of Navarre, though later annulled, highlights her strategic vision, and her successful marriage of her daughter Eleanor to the King of Portugal secured a vital alliance for Castile. Maria of Aragon stands as a powerful example of a medieval matriarch who understood that the future of a kingdom and the destiny of its ruling dynasty lay significantly in the hands of those who meticulously controlled the marriage beds of their heirs and family members. She proved that a queen could be a formidable political force, wielding the power of dynastic marriage to shape the very course of nations.